I've got a bunch of fun little cable hacks that I've been using almost every day to turn my Bells of Steel Manticore power rack into kind of a DIY functional trainer. I'm really excited to show you how I set up cable flies, a belt squat, and a bunch of other useful things in between. So let's get to it. Hey everyone, Canadian Steve here. To start off, let's look at everything you'll need to set these up on your own. I have a Manticore rack, as I said, from Bells of Steel with a weight stack loaded center lat pull down low row. My rack is 90 inches tall, 30 inches deep, and it uses 1-inch holes. These dimensions are perfect for the cables and pulleys I'm using, but you can modify this stuff to work with any rack, and the setup will be identical on a Hydra as well. All you need are some pulleys and band pegs. Specifically, these band pegs from Bells of Steel that have this little hole in the end to attach a carabiner. These were a brilliant idea. You need 4 band pegs, which cost $30 Canadian for a pair of the 1-inch Manticore and $20 Canadian for a pair of the 5/8" Hydra version. I grabbed a third set of these that come with these collars to hold them in place, and I'll show you why, but it's not necessary if you want to save some money. You'll also need 4 cable pulley combos. Again, I really like these ones from Bells of Steel because at 77 inches, they are the exact size that I need. I also think they're pretty well built with these bars right here that prevent the cable from getting pushed all the way through. You can find cheaper versions on Amazon if you want. I just happen to really like these. Again, they fit perfectly with the rack, but if you have a different one, you can always find cables that can be cut to your exact size. Let's jump right to my favorite movement here, the seated cable fly. Now, I have seen guys like Sam Sulik, Eric Janicki, and Dr. Mike Israetel swear by this one lately, so I tried it out and I love it. I guess another accessory you're gonna need if you really want to get the full width to simulate a cable crossover is a pair of safety spotter arms. I put them off to the side like this with a pulley attached to a band peg in each end. From there, each of these cables connects to another set of pulleys hanging down on band pegs from the back cross member. This is where I use the collars. I like to minimize my setup time, so I leave this set of pulleys and pegs permanently attached to the rack. I put these collars on to hold them in place when I'm pulling on the cable so they don't slide up and down. But again, you don't need to do this. You could just take those pegs and stick them through the front. Attach the pulley to that, and you don't need to leave them on all the time like I do. From there, we connect both cables up to the lat pull down point, and that's it. Now at this point, you might be asking yourself, but Steve, you big dumb small Canadian dummy, why waste time with all 4 of those cables when you can just attach those first 2 to the bottom low row? Well, that's a great question, if not a little unnecessarily hurtful, if I'm really being honest here. But the answer is because physics. If I set it up this way, as you pull these cables out to the side, the low row cable is coming straight forward. So it's basically going like an expanding Y angle. And at some point, you're just exerting a ton of force off to the side to get the cable to move a couple inches forward. And you have a severely limited range of motion that gets way harder towards the end. And you don't want that. This way, the direction of force is almost in a completely straight line all the way down, so you get a nice uniform resistance curve. And we're all set. You can do these however you want, but I like to set them up just below shoulder height with a slight decline in the bench. I can get a wicked stretch in the fully extended position and a really nice contraction, great range of motion with constant tension all the way through. Feels great. For our second exercise, we're pretty much already set up. All I did was raise the safety spotter arms a little bit higher, and now you can do a beautiful reverse fly with just an absolute fully stretched out range of motion. Again, I really like this. I get great tension all the way through. While we still have the 2 pulleys set up at the bottom, let's look at a couple different ways to do Bayesian cable curls. Yeah, that sounds right. I got this movement from the great Canadian fitness guru himself, my boy Jeff Nippard, who in his most recent bicep video put these at the absolute top of his tier list. So you should give him a shot. This is an amazing exercise that gives you maximum tension in the most lengthened, stretched out position possible with really good tension all the way through. Now we can change this and make it even better to fit whatever you like. just by putting the peg on the side uprights, giving it more horizontal direction of pull and even more tension in that fully lengthened position. Yeah, these feel great. You should definitely try them. Next, we have the cable belt squat. I'm actually pretty excited to show you this one because it's become kind of a staple for me. Although I've developed a bit of a love-hate relationship with it because I can get a hell of a quad workout. It just kind of leaves me crying on the floor like a baby and gasping for breath for 10 minutes sometimes. You know how it is. I'm going to be setting this up on the outside of the front upright because this is the lowest point on the rack that I can get a band peg into. This is also where I said the Bells of Steel cables are the perfect dimension for me because setting it up this way gives it maximum tension and takes all the slack out of the system. Now you might think I would just attach this to the lat pull down, right? Nope. Now who's the big dummy? It's not you, you lovely, wonderful people out there. But if you watched my last review of the Manticore, you would remember that my biggest critique about this thing was the way this lat pull down works. Like, you can only pull it straight down. If it comes out to the side at all, it's gonna scrape against the metal edges and damage the cable. So to compensate for that, I put another band peg, carabiner, and pulley up here, and I attach that down to the low row. So you're pulling up from the low row, down from the pulley, and back up from the bottom. I know it's redundant, but that's the way that you get around the limitations of the lat pull down. Now, as I'm sure you can already tell, I am a complex, intellectual type guy, so I like to go deep. And that just wasn't deep enough for me. So I built these boxes here. This gives me enough height to get up above it and get all the way down there. I used to just stack all of my bumper plates and that worked just fine. I just got really sick of carrying them around, so I built these bad boys. It's super cheap, really easy to make. I might actually make a video in the future for all the stuff like this that I've built down here. It's not complicated, but I could easily show you how if you're interested. I don't go crazy heavy on these. I just really like to do higher reps for this. Real slow eccentric, bit of a pause at the bottom. So because of that, I don't have a problem hooking up down here and then carefully making my way up under load. It's not a big deal for me. And from here, you can start paying off those student loans, baby. Woo! I mean, yeah, quad workout. Really great news though, if you have a plate loaded lat pull down or the weight stack like I do with the weight horns, is you don't have to set it up at the bottom. You can bring it up, load it up at the top. I just took another band peg, short piece of chain, hook myself up here, and I'm good to go. I'm hooked. Now I can go over, load it up, set it back up again. If you want to check out any of this Bells of Steel gear, then please follow the link in the description. And if you like the video, then just go out and be kind to someone today. I don't know, man, compliment a stranger, hold the door for someone, don't kick a stray dog. Whatever works for you with where you're at, do whatever you can. Another 2-for-1 bonus, with the exact same setup, we can now do cable weighted dips. So any dip belt will work for you. I picked this one up off Amazon. I think it's the Fit Guy. I'm not sponsored or anything, but I might put a link in the description. So let's go ahead and hook up. We're good to go. There you go. This one is extremely simple, and I already mentioned it really. It's just a way to get around the limitations of the lat pull down. I have a single pulley at the top, pulling off of the low row, and then I can do any kind of exercise where I'm pulling a little bit away from the rack. I like these. Just a quick side note, if you're not satisfied with my solution for the lat pull down exit point, I did have another one. I bought some super thin 10mm UHMW tape off Amazon, and then I just lined the inside hole with a strip of that tape. It's not a great solution. It doesn't really stay in all that well, but if you want to risk it, you can pull the cable against it and it will slide smoothly without getting damaged. Bit of a variation on how to pull away from the rack. I just took this crossbar that's meant to hold your legs down when you're doing lat pull downs. These Bells of Steel pulleys have some webbing around them, so I just draped it over this, hooked it in place, and then you can adjust the height you're pulling from, and really unlimited heights. do face pulls. It's great. This last one is a bit of a bonus because it doesn't require any special setup. We're doing calf raises, that's right. Can't ignore them forever. So all I have is this block, I think it's from Iron Master, but you could seriously just go to Home Depot and get a 4x4 block of wood. It would work just fine. This same Fit Guy belt came with a longer cable, so I love these. You can load them up real quick without having to hang a whole bunch of weights off you. Just connect at the bottom, and you're good to go. That's it. So none of these are high-level rocket surgery, but I find them all really useful. I'd love to know if you guys have any other brilliant ideas that I never heard of, so let me know. And hopefully you learned something here.
So as they say in Canada, peace out.